Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It really helps YouTube recommend more stories like this one to you. Alright, let's jump right in.
The second I swerved to avoid her, I knew something was wrong. She didn't flinch, didn't move, just stood there, ankle deep in the muddy ditch off Route 219, soaked in rain, staring at my truck like she'd been waiting for me. I slammed the brakes and nearly jackknifed. The trailer jolted behind me, tires skidding against the slick road. Everything inside the cab rattled: coffee mug, CB radio mic, phone charger swinging loose. My heart pounded like a jackhammer in my ears. It was 2:43 a.m., middle of the Allegheny Mountains. Black as pitch, except for the stretch of high beams cutting through the downpour. She was gone. I blinked hard, leaning forward, wiping the fog from the inside of the windshield with my sleeve. Wipers flung water aside with each mechanical sweep, but the ditch? Empty, like no one had been there. Except I saw her. I sat in the cab for a minute, the engine idling low. Nothing but rain slamming the roof and the soft whine of wind creeping through the cab seals. My knuckles stayed white on the wheel. Should I check? Hell no. I'm not the kind of guy who gets out on a mountain road in the middle of a storm to go poking around in a ditch. I've heard enough stories over the years: truck stop campfire tailies, CB chatter, Reddit threads at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep in the sleeper cab. But there was something about her. Not just how still she was. It was her face. She looked at me like she knew me. I hit the gas again, needing to put some distance between me and whatever that was. The truck groaned back to life, tires slipping a little before finding grip. My trailer was half loaded with paper products from a distribution center upstate. Just a normal run. One I'd done before. The CB crackled. On 19, anyone catch that? Static. I picked up the mic. You talking about the woman in the ditch? Silence, more static. Then, she's back again. I didn't sleep that day when I stopped at the next rest area. I parked next to a couple of other rigs under the weak yellow glow of the overhead lights. Engine off, but keys still in the ignition. I kept staring into my side mirrors, and every time the wind kicked up or a branch scraped the side of my trailer, I flinched. It wasn't just fear. It was this pressure, like something had crawled inside my brain and kept whispering, "You saw her. You weren't supposed to." A few days later, I was doing a haul through Ohio, trying to forget the whole thing. Different route. Clear skies. A 24-hour diner coffee sloshing in my cup holder. And then I saw her again. Mile. Marker 84, standing near a break in the tree line. Same drenched black hair, same pale skin, same dead-eyed stare that met mine as I passed by. She wasn't looking for help. She was checking in. I nearly ran off the road. I told myself it wasn't her. Just a random woman. Coincidence. I'd been running too long without proper sleep. I pulled over at a pilot and tried to calm down. But my hands shook so bad I couldn't even hold my coffee. And then my phone buzzed. No caller ID. Just a single text message. You weren't supposed to leave. I dropped the phone. No one had my number except dispatch and my wife. This was my personal line. I stared at the screen for a full minute before picking it up again. My thumb hovered over the block button, but then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The message timestamp? 2:43 a.m. The next few weeks blurred together. Same routes, same diners, same truck stops. But the feeling? It got worse. I kept smelling rain, even in dry places. Like damp leaves and rusted metal. Like that night. She started showing up in mirrors. Not directly, but just for a flash. Rear view, side mirrors. Polished metal in the bathroom of a Flying J, always behind me. Never in focus. But there, I stopped telling people. My wife thought I was stressed. Dispatcher told me to take a week off. but I couldn't shake her. I even saw her once standing by the fuel pumps, then gone in a blink. She was haunting me, and not like a ghost, like a warning. Then came the route back through. Route 219. It was the only way to meet a tight delivery window. No detours. The roads were too remote, the deadlines too close. I tried to avoid it, but dispatch insisted. So I took it. The night felt heavier. My GPS glitched and reset. Music kept skipping like I had a scratched CD, but I was streaming Spotify. The fog was thick as soup. And just past mile marker 119. My headlights caught her again. Same ditch. Same soaked hair. This time she stepped onto the road. I slammed the brakes. Tires screamed. This time she didn't vanish. She stood there. Closer now. Inches from the grill of my truck. Eyes locked on mine. Lips slightly parted like she was whispering something I couldn't hear. And I swear to God her mouth moved like she was saying, "You left me." I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. And then she turned and walked into the woods. No rush. No fear. Like she knew I'd follow. I shouldn't have, but I did. I opened the door. The cold hit me, instantly wet, thick, full of pine and rot. I stumbled down the ditch, flashlight in hand, boots sinking into the mud. "Hello?" My voice cracked. "You okay?" Nothing, just wind. Branches creaking. The distant groan of the trailer settling behind me. I moved further in. The flashlight caught pieces of wet leaves and spiderwebs and moss-covered rocks. And then something caught my eye. A shoe. A small muddy sneaker. Next to it, a broken phone. And next to that, a rusted truck plate. The rusted truck plate was half buried in the mud, but I could still read it. Faded, bent, but unmistakably familiar. It had the same company logo. I drove under Grady Freight Systems, but it was an old logo, one they hadn't used in at least 10 years. I ran my fingers over it, and it flaked apart like rusted paper. Right next to it was a patch of torn, red flannel caught on a branch. I remember noticing the stitching. Someone had mended it by hand. A button sewn back on with purple thread. I don't know why, but I kept that button in my pocket. I kept going. The woods swallowed me fast. The road noise vanished behind thick trees, and the further I went, the more the forest pressed in on me, branches clawing at my jacket, leaves wet and cold brushing my face. My flashlight started to flicker. I tapped it. It went out. Dead. No signal. No moonlight. Just the smell of wet earth and something else. Something sour. Like decay. I turned to head back, but I couldn't see the road anymore. I spun in a circle, heart thudding in my throat. Everything looked the same. Trees, mud, dark. And then I heard her, a soft voice like it was floating through the trees. "You left me." I froze. It wasn't ahead of me. It was behind me. I turned fast, slipping in the mud, catching myself on a root. There was a figure now. Just a silhouette between two trees. Not moving, watching. The same long hair. Same white face, lit dimly by the strange glow of the mist curling through the woods. She stepped forward, bolted. I don't know how long I ran. Branches tore at my arms. Mud sucking at my boots, lungs burning. I wasn't chasing a path, I was running away. Every few seconds I looked back, half expecting to see her right behind me. I never did, but I never felt alone, either. Eventually, I stumbled out onto a clearing and collapsed to my knees. My jeans were soaked. My face was scratched. I could hear my own breath rasping, echoing in the cold air. And then, lights. Headlights. A truck. My truck. I ran toward it, but as I got closer, something made me stop. It wasn't mine. It looked like mine. Same make, same trailer, but it was covered in moss. The windshield shattered. Tires flat. Rust dripping down the doors like dried blood. The driver's door was cracked open. Inside, Dangling from the mirror was a lanyard. One I recognized instantly. It was mine. Or it had been from a decade ago, back when I first started. It had my old ID badge on it, picture all sun-faded. Same beard, same eyes, but 10 years younger. What the hell was this? I climbed up into the cab, heart pounding. The air inside was thick, musty, like rotted upholstery. The keys were still in the ignition, but the battery was long dead, and in the passenger seat, a spiral notebook. I picked it up and flipped through it. Pages and pages of handwriting, frantic and messy. A log, a confession. She's following me. I see her every night now. No one believes me. They said the woman died out there 5 years ago. Hitchhiker, hit and run. Ditch buried her. But she's not dead. Or maybe she is. I don't know anymore. I left her. I left her. I drove away. I saw her eyes. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. The last page had one word: run. That's when I heard something hit the side of the trailer. Bang. I jumped. Another hit, louder, from the back. And bang, bang, footsteps scraping the gravel around the trailer. I ducked low and peered through the broken side mirror. She was walking along the side, dragging her hand across the trailer's metal, fingernails screeching like chalk. She stopped at the passenger door. Our eyes met. And for the first time, I saw her up close. Her face wasn't just pale, it was rotting. Skin gray and cracked like old plaster. Water dripping from her hair. And her eyes. Those weren't eyes anymore. They were pits, hollow, bottomless. She smiled. I flung open the driver's door and leapt down, hitting the ground hard. Pain shot through my ankle, but I ran until my legs gave out. Somehow, I found the road again. I waved down a passing pickup. A hunter, I think. He said I looked like I'd seen a ghost. I didn't say a word. I never reported what I saw. What would I even say? Hey, there's a phantom version of my truck rotting in the woods off 219? Yeah, no. But I went back a week later. In daylight. No sign of the truck. No sign of the clearing. No rusted plate. No shoe. Nothing, like it never existed. But that's not the end. Last night, I was fueling up outside Roanoke when I checked my dashcam footage from that run, just to prove to myself she wasn't real. I scrolled through it, watching the miles blur by. And right around mile marker 119, the camera glitched, froze, and then, frame by frame, I saw it. A woman stepping out of the ditch, staring into the lens, mouthing the same words. You left me. Now. Every route I drive, no matter the state, no matter the weather, she finds me. Sometimes she's far off the shoulder. Sometimes in the reflection of my side mirror. Sometimes when the radio cuts out, I hear her humming. And sometimes I wake up in the sleeper cab, covered in mud, like I've been walking through the woods again. I don't sleep much anymore. I keep the cab lights on. I check my mirrors obsessively. And I don't stop for anyone. Not ever again, but deep down, I know the truth. I didn't just see the woman in the ditch. I left her there. And she's never going to let me forget it. It started like any other late haul. I was rolling through Kansas, middle of nowhere, 2-lane blacktop stretching ahead like it was stitched into the dark. Nothing but cornfields, my headlights, and the low hum of tires on asphalt. The kind of stretch that makes you feel like you're the last person on earth. I was on mile 426, watching the gas dip, keeping one eye on the sky as clouds started to swallow the stars. I had the CB on low, channel 19. Mostly static with the occasional chatter from another long dash hauler. Then, around 1:10 a.m., a voice cut through the static. Clear, calm, like it was sitting right next to me in the cab. Breaker 19, Breaker 19. Can anyone hear me? Nothing weird about that at first, but the tone was wrong. It didn't sound like a trucker. Didn't use any slang. Just this flat, emotionless voice that felt out of place on a CB channel. Like it was trying to mimic how truckers talk, but hadn't quite figured it out. I keyed my mic. Yeah, go ahead, you're coming through. Pause. You missed your turn. I let go of the mic. What? No one answered. Just the soft hiss of static again. Then silence. I chuckled to myself. Figured it was some rookie playing around on the channel, trying to mess with drivers. Happens all the time. Kids get their hands on CB radios and think it's funny to freak people out. But then I passed a road sign. Exit 241, detour, Whetstone Creek, RD, and I swear on my life, I had missed my turn. GPS rerouted in real time. I'd zoned out, blown right past it while talking to that voice. I chalked it up to coincidence. Shook it off. Took the next exit to double back. No big deal, but that was just night 1. Night 2. I was rolling south through Oklahoma, CB on again, because I like the company, even if it's just voices. Wasn't expecting anything, but somewhere around 3 a.m., the voice came back. Breaker 19. You passed him. I didn't even key the mic. My stomach dropped. I looked in the rearview mirrors. Nothing but open road. Fog started to roll across the blacktop, thick and low like smoke from a blown tire. I slowed a little, checking my GPS, trying to figure out what the hell they meant. Past who? No answer. Then a burst of static. And a whisper, barely audible over the radio. He was hitchhiking. You should have stopped. That night I had a nightmare. I was parked on the shoulder. Door open, lights flickering, and something was crawling up into the cab from the passenger side. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Just watched as this thing with a human face but wrong eyes pulled itself closer like it had been stitched together from memories I didn't recognize. I woke up with my throat sore like I'd been screaming. I left the CB off the next few nights. Then came night 5. I was heading through Colorado. Mountains looming like dark giants on either side of the highway. It was snowing lightly, enough to make the road slick, but not enough to shut me down. That's when I saw the truck parked crooked on the shoulder ahead. Hazards flashing. No other lights. No markings on the trailer. Just there. I slowed down as I passed, and that's when I saw the door swinging open. Empty cab. No driver. CB flared back to life. You saw it too, didn't you? I grabbed the mic, angry now. This isn't funny. Whoever you are, you've had your fun. Cut the crap. Static. Then, something that didn't belong on channel 19, a voice recording. Or something that sounded like one. It played back my voice from earlier in the week. Yeah, go ahead, you're coming through. What? This isn't funny. It kept looping. Over and over. My own voice, glitching and distorted. Playing back like a broken tape recorder. I ripped the CB plug out of the console, and the voice kept going. Not over the radio anymore. From the sleeper cab behind me. I spun around so fast, I nearly slammed my head on the overhead console. The curtain to the sleeper cab was closed, but the voice was still playing. My voice, garbled, off, like it was being run through some busted speaker. This isn't funny. Cut the crap. You missed your turn. Over and over, I sat frozen in the driver's seat, one hand still gripping the unplugged CB mic, the other hovering near the door handle. Every instinct told me not to pull that curtain back, but I had to know. I stood, slow as hell, and pulled the curtain aside. Nothing. Just the dark bunk. Crumpled blanket. My duffel bag, and the soft, repeating loop of my own voice, now coming from the vent. I killed the engine and stepped out into the cold. Took a few deep breaths. The wind howled through the canyon. Snow swirling sideways. My breath looked like smoke under the headlights. I circled the truck. No one. No footprints. No signal on my phone either. Just one bar blinking in and out. Useless. I climbed back in, locked the doors, and sat there with the key in my lap. I didn't even want to touch the CB, but I didn't have to dot at exactly 3 a.m. It turned on by itself. Breaker 19. Do you remember Highway 84? That stopped me cold. Highway 84. That was the route I avoided for years. Ever since that night back in '08, I hadn't told anyone about it. Not my wife. Not dispatch. No one. It was the night I almost quit trucking. I was still green, then fresh off my probationary runs. Dispatch sent me on a late route near Lubbock, Texas. Just an overnight haul, easy miles. Or so I thought, but I hit a kid. He came out of nowhere. Dark road. No lights. No shoulder. I was going the speed limit, maybe a touch over, and he just appeared. I swerved, clipped something, stopped half a mile down when the adrenaline hit. Ran back with a flashlight shaking in my hand, but there was nothing. No body. No blood. Just a backpack in the ditch. And when I called it in, the sheriff shrugged it off, said I probably hit a deer. Took the bag. Sent me on my way. I never forgot that night. The thud, the silence afterward. How I couldn't sleep for days. But the voice on Channel 19. It knew. He was 16. His name was Isaac. I dropped the mic. How the hell did it know that name? It kept talking. Soft now. Like it was sitting right behind me. You didn't stop. Not really. You just looked and drove away. You left him in the ditch. Like all the others. Others? What the hell was it talking about? That's when the photos started showing up, tucked under my windshield wipers when I parked at truck stops. Slipped under the driver's seat. One taped to my side mirror like it had been placed there just seconds before I walked out of the diner. Always grainy. Always night shots. All of them showed me or my truck. Parked near a ditch. A figure standing at the edge of the road. A face in the reflection of my side mirror. Once. I found one photo showing me asleep in the sleeper cab with the curtains open. I found one photo showing me asleep in the sleeper cab with the curtains open. Always closed the curtains. I started sleeping with the engine off. Doors locked. Blade in the door pocket. I even changed routes. Told dispatch I wouldn't drive at night anymore. Didn't matter. One night, parked outside Tulsa. I heard tapping on the passenger side glass. I turned. There was a boy standing there. Wet. Dirt on his clothes. One eye swollen shut. Like he'd been in the ditch for weeks. I jumped out of the cab with my flashlight, screaming at him to stay back. He was gone. Vanished into the field behind the lot. No footprints in the dirt. Then the CB turned on. You saw him this time. No more second chances. We're all listening now. Static. Rose like a wave, and then I heard voices. Not one, dozens, all overlapping. All whispering over Channel 19. Names. First names. Last names. Dates. Mile. Markers. I didn't recognize most of them, but one hit me in the chest like a sledgehammer. Isaac Taylor. Highway 84. Mile 193, 2008. And then silence. That night. I opened my logbook. I flipped back to every route I'd driven in the last 17 years, and a sick thought crawled into my head like an earworm. How many times did I zone out? How many times did I swerve and keep driving? I mean, we all do it. You feel a bump. You think it's a raccoon. A deer. You check your mirrors. Nothing there. You keep moving. But what if I wasn't alone in those moments? What if I missed something? Someone. A week ago, I got a package. No return address. Just sitting on the step of my truck. Inside, a burnt-out CB radio. Same model. I used. And a note. Typed. No signature. You've been talking on our channel. Now we're talking back. Now every night, no matter where I drive, I keep hearing those names. Sometimes I wake up to the CB whispering even when it's unplugged. Sometimes the windshield is covered in handprints when I park in the morning. Sometimes I hear breathing in the sleeper cab even when I'm wide awake. And every night, that voice returns. Channel 19, telling me things I don't want to remember. The banging started just after midnight. I just pulled out of the loading bay in Nevada small warehouse. Sketchy paperwork, one guy in a high-vis vest who barely looked at me when I signed. I didn't ask questions. I was late, exhausted, and the job paid extra if I didn't stop until Salt Lake. No mention of what was inside the trailer. Manifest said, Cargo 376, high security materials. Do not open it. Didn't even list weight. That should have been my first red flag. About 40 miles out, I felt the trailer shift, hard, like something heavy had moved from one side to the other. I checked the mirrors. Everything looked fine. No sway, no blowout. Just that weird, unbalanced pull that happens when your load's not secured properly. I figured it was some idiot warehouse guy who didn't strap things down. Then came they sound. Thump, 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 like fists hitting metal. From inside the trailer. I slowed down, flipped on the hazards, rolled the windows down and listened. Silence. Just the wind and the hum of tires. I started to move again. 10 minutes later, bang, bang, louder this time. 3 sharp hits against the inside of the trailer wall, right behind the cab. I grabbed the CB. Dispatch, this is Rig 421. You copy? Static. Dispatch, I got movement in the trailer. You guys sure this is a dead load? Static again. Then a single voice came through. Calm, not dispatch. Keep driving. I hit the brakes, looked around. Empty highway. No cars, no lights. Just desert and darkness. I picked up the CB again. Who is this? That's not dispatch. Keep driving. Do not stop. Do not open the trailer. I pulled onto the shoulder, heart pounding. This wasn't a prank. The voice wasn't distorted. It wasn't some late-night trucker chatter. It was clear, calm, authorized. But I had to know. I stepped out into the cold night air. Gravel crunching under my boots. The trailer loomed behind me, quiet now. Just a blank, white box with cargo. 376, stenciled near the top in faded paint. No locks. Just a heavy latch and a seal wire thin. Enough to cut. I hesitated. Then it hit the inside wall so hard the whole trailer rocked. Boom. I stumbled back. My flashlight shook in my hand. And then I heard it. Scraping. Like nails dragging along the inside wall. And breathing. Ragged, wet breathing. Something was alive in there. I radioed again. This is Rig 421. What the hell is in my trailer? Nothing. Just static. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. Just a single message. Do not open. Then another one. Seconds later. Final warning. Keep driving. I stood there in the dark, breathing hard, staring at the trailer like it was going to burst open. And I swear, I heard a voice from inside. Not clear, muffled, but definitely human. Please, let me out. I backed away, got in the cab, locked the doors, sat in silence for a full minute before starting the engine again. I didn't know what I was carrying, but I knew one thing. It wanted out. I hit the road again. Didn't touch the CB. Didn't answer the phone. Just drove, hands tight on the wheel, trying not to imagine what was in that trailer just feet behind me. But every 20 minutes or so, I'd hear it again. The shifting, the scratching, and once, a scream so faint I thought I imagined it. Then something even worse happened. I Stopped at a way station outside Ely, routine. Late night. Guy checking tags. Gave me a nod, waved me forward. Then he called out, "Hey, what's that?" I turned. He was pointing at the trailer. There were handprints on the inside. Wall, pressed outward. 5 fingers, smudged, like someone had slammed both hands against the wall with everything they had. Then more appeared. Right in front of both of US. 4, 5, 6, all slamming the metal from inside. The guy's face went pale. "What the hell are you hauling?" I had no answer. He told me to pull aside. I did. He radioed something into his office. I watched him walk toward the back of the trailer with a flashlight, and that was the last time I saw him. Disappeared behind the rig and never came back. The banging started just after midnight. I just pulled out of the loading bay in Nevada's small warehouse. Sketchy paperwork. One guy in a high-waist vest who barely looked at me when I signed. I didn't ask questions. I was late, exhausted, and the job paid extra if I didn't stop until Salt Lake. No mention of what was inside the trailer, manifest said. Cargo 376. High security materials. Do not open it. Didn't even list weight. That should have been my first red flag. About 40 miles out, I felt the trailer shift. Hard, like something heavy had moved from one side to the other. I checked the mirrors. Everything looked fine. No sway, no blowout. Just that weird, unbalanced pull that happens when your load's not secured properly. I figured it was some idiot warehouse guy who didn't strap things down. Then came the sound. Thump. Thump, like fists hitting metal. From inside the trailer. I slowed down. Flipped on the hazards. Rolled the windows down and listened. Silence. Just the wind and the hum of tires. I started to move again. 10 minutes later, bang, bang, louder this time. 3 sharp hits against the inside of the trailer wall. Right behind the cab. I grabbed the CB. "Dispatch, this is Rig 421. You copy?" "Static, dispatch, I got movement in the trailer." "You guys sure this is a dead load?" Static again. Then a single voice came through. "Calm, not dispatch. Keep driving." I hit the brakes, looked around. Empty highway. No cars, no lights. Just desert and darkness. I picked up the CB again. "Who is this?" "That's not dispatch. Keep driving. Do not stop. Do not open the trailer." I pulled onto the shoulder, heart pounding. This wasn't a prank. The voice wasn't distorted. It wasn't some late-night trucker chatter. It was clear, calm, authorized. But I had to know. I stepped out into the cold night air. Gravel crunching under my boots. The trailer loomed behind me, quiet now. Just a blank, white box with cargo. 376, stenciled near the top in faded paint. No locks. Just a heavy latch and a seal wire thin. Enough to cut. I hesitated. And then it hit the inside wall so hard the whole trailer rock. Boom. I stumbled back. My flashlight shook in my hand. And then I heard it. Scraping. Like nails dragging along the inside wall. And breathing. Ragged, wet breathing. Something was alive in there. I radioed again. "This is Rig 421. What the hell is in my trailer?" Nothing. Just static. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. Just a single message. "Do not open." Then another one. Seconds later. Final warning. "Keep driving." I stood there in the dark, breathing hard, staring at the trailer like it was going to burst open, and I swear, I heard a voice from inside. Not clear, muffled, but definitely human. "Please, let me out." I backed away, got in the cab, locked the doors, sat in silence for a full minute before starting the engine again. I didn't know what I was carrying, but I knew one thing. It wanted out. I hit the road again, didn't touch the CB, Didn't answer the phone. Just drove, hands tight on the wheel, trying not to imagine what was in that trailer just feet behind me. But every 20 minutes or so, I'd hear it again, the shifting, the scratching, and once, a scream so faint I thought I imagined it. Then something even worse happened. I stopped at a way station outside Ely, routine, late night. Guy checking tags. Gave me a nod, waved me forward. Then he called out, "Hey, what's that?" I turned. He was pointing at the trailer. There were handprints on the inside. Wall, pressed outward, 5 fingers, smudged, like someone had slammed both hands against the wall with everything they had. Then more appeared. Right in front of both of US. 4, 5, 6, all slamming the metal from inside. The guy's face went pale. "What the hell are you hauling?" I had no answer. He told me to pull aside. I did. He radioed something into his office. I watched him walk toward the back of the trailer with a flashlight, and that was the last time I saw him. Disappeared behind the rig and never came back. I wasn't planning to stop. Not at that rest stop. Every trucker who runs the I-90 corridor knows about exit 213. The stories change. Some say it's haunted. Others say it's a dead zone where people disappear. But everyone calls it the same thing. Rest stop 54. Just a sad little concrete pull-off in Montana. 2 cracked vending machines, 3 truck slots, and 1 busted streetlight that flickers like it's trying to send Morse code. I'd always driven past it without a second glance. Until last week. Dispatch had me on a tight run through snow country. 22 hours behind the wheel with barely time to breathe. I'd pushed it too hard and was starting to drift, eyes burning, white lines blurring together like waves. I told myself I'd stop at the next lot. That lot was Rest Stop 54. I pulled in around 1:30 a.m., one other rig already there. Parked nose forward like the driver had bailed early. No lights on inside. Cab curtains drawn. I backed into the far spot, engine still running, cab heater blasting. It was too cold to cut the engine, and I didn't plan on staying long. Just needed a nap. A little reset. 10 minutes, maybe 20. I was asleep in 5. I woke to silence. Dead silence. No hum of the engine. No heater, just cold. My breath fogged in the air. I sat up confused, disoriented. The truck was off, but I hadn't killed the ignition. My hand reached for the keys. Still in the on position. No dash lights. No power. Dead. That's when the rest stop lights flickered on. It was like someone had flipped a switch just outside my cab. Floodlights snapped to life, lighting the parking lot with a harsh, buzzing glow. I squinted through the windshield. The other truck was still there, but now its cab lights were on, and its driver's side door was wide open. I rubbed my eyes. At first, I thought maybe he just stepped out to use the bathroom. But the rest stop building, the grim little cinderblock box they call a facility, was dark. No lights. No open door. No sign of anyone. I waited. Nothing. Then my cab lights flickered. Twice. Click. Click. Then died. That cold, creeping fear started to crawl up my neck. I reached for my phone. Dead. I reached for my flashlight, flickered for half a second, then cut out. I sat in the dark, inside a dead truck in the middle of Montana, with no light, no power, and a wide open rig sitting 20 feet away like a trap. I decided to leave. Tried to start the engine. Nothing. Tried again. Click. Nothing. I opened the door to check under the hood. Cold air rushed in, so sharp it stole the breath from my lungs. The gravel crunched under my boots as I climbed down. That's when I heard it creak. Like weight shifting in the other truck. Like someone was moving inside it. I aimed the dead flashlight out of instinct, knowing it wouldn't work. But then something else caught my eye. A red light. Just a small 1 blinking above. ME. I looked up. There was a camera mounted on the roof of the restroom building. Old, rusted, but powered. Slowly turning. Watching me. Then I saw another camera. On a pole near the vending machines. Another above the sign that read, Rest Stop 54 Montana. All blinking. All active. My rig was dead. But they still had power. I turned back toward the other truck. Its cab light was still on. But now the door was shut. And the driver? Still nowhere in sight. I decided to walk toward the building. Maybe there was a landline. Maybe a maintenance box. Anything. But as I approached the door, it opened. On its own, just a few inches. The hallway inside was pitch black, but I could hear it. A voice, faint, tinny, playing over an intercom. We see you. I stepped back. Everything inside me screamed, do not go in there. But the air outside was freezing. My truck was dead, and I didn't see another vehicle for miles in either direction. I was stranded, and I needed to know who was watching me. I pulled the door open wider. It groaned like it hadn't moved in years. The hallway was lit only by a single red bulb on the ceiling, flickering like it was struggling to stay alive. Cold concrete. Wet footprints led deeper inside. Not mine. I followed them. My boots echoed down the hallway as I passed a mirror that was so dusty it barely reflected anything. Then came the graffiti-covered stalls. Paper peeling from the walls. But something didn't feel abandoned. The floor was too clean. The air smelled like bleach and metal, like it had then. Prepared. The voice came again, this time louder. And from behind me, you stayed. I spun around. Flashlight raised. Nothing. Just the red light above the entrance. Now blinking faster. Almost. Frantic. Then something clicked behind the wall. Like a latch releasing. And a door opened hidden in the back wall of the restroom, where there should have been nothing but concrete. I inched closer. Inside was a narrow stairwell going down. Way down, unlit, damp, cold. And from below, I heard the sound of a diesel engine running. I couldn't explain it. But I knew that sound. It was my truck. I turned to run, forget the phone, forget help, just get out. But the hallway behind me was dark now. The door I came in through? Gone. Not closed. Gone. Just a solid wall. I was trapped. So I did the only thing left. I went down, one step at a time, using the dim flashlight. The stairwell seemed endless. Concrete turned to metal. The air grew warmer. The sound of my engine got louder, deeper, like it was idling, just behind the next corner. And then the stairs ended in a hallway. Polished floors. White lights. Like a medical facility. I stepped into the corridor. On the walls were screens. Dozens of them. Each showing live. Feeds. Rest stops. Gas stations. Truck. Cabs. Sleeper cams. Dash cams. All across the country. Watched one monitor closely. It showed me. Sitting in my cab, asleep. I backed away, shaking. Looked for any kind of exit. Then a speaker crackled to life again. We've watched for years. The ones who wander. The ones who stop. Not everyone looks up when they hear the camera click. I ran. Down the hall. Past rooms full of shelves, boxes labeled with truck numbers. Photos, clothing, logbooks, personal stuff. Trophies. I passed a room with a window. Inside, a man sat at a desk, wearing my jacket, watching my dashcam footage on loop. When he turned, his face, it was mine, but not quite. Eyes too black. Smile too wide. Like someone trying to be me. He stood. Slowly, walked toward the glass. Held up a hand, my hand, and waved. Then reached for something on the console behind him. The lights went out. I don't remember how I got back. I woke up in my cab. Engine running. Sun rising behind the hills. Phone fully charged. CB humming. No sign of the other rig. No sign of the building. Like it had all reset. I drove straight through to the next state. Didn't stop. Didn't sleep. And when I pulled into a Love's an hour later, I checked my trailer. my gear, my phone. All there, but there was one thing I didn't recognize, wedged in the side of my passenger seat. Like it had fallen out of a pocket. A security badge, white plastic, embossed with a single phrase. Rest stop 54, level 2 access, authorized viewer. I've driven every major interstate in the lower 48. Mountains, deserts, cities, nothing shakes me. But what happened 2 months ago on Route 36 changed how I see the road, and who I trust behind the wheel. It started with a routine overnight run across Missouri. Nothing weird. A light load, smooth road conditions. Dead quiet highway. Until around 3:12 a.m. That's when I noticed the rig in my side mirror. Pitch black cab. No company logo. No lights on the trailer. Just those red reflectors glowing faintly in the distance. It had a single strip of red cloth tied to the back door. Frayed, torn, like a flag. It caught the wind as the rig gained on me. Something about it just felt off. I changed lanes to let it pass. At ID in single quotes D. It stayed behind me. Too close. Too silent. I tapped the brakes, nudging the cruise off, expecting it to ease back. Nothing, no headlights. Just the faint shape of a rig riding my ass like a shadow. I grabbed the CB. You behind me, you wanna back off a bit? Nothing. Not even static. I tried again. Still nothing. And that's when I noticed my radio wasn't even on. The switch had flipped off by itself. I turned it back on. Immediate static. And then, whisper. Faint. Right in the middle of the white noise. Wrong lane. I gripped the wheel harder. The voice was soft, calm, but not human. Not in a way I could explain. It didn't sound like it came through the CB, more like it came with it. I checked the mirror. Again, the rig was gone. I slammed the brakes. Looked in all directions. Nothing. Not on the shoulder. Not on the road behind me. Just open highway and the soft whine of wind across the flat stretch. I was shaken, but tried to move on. Told myself I was tired, hallucinating, sleep deprived. But a few minutes later, as I rolled through the next county, I saw something in my mirror again. The red flag. Same rig. Same silent tail. It was just there. No engine noise. No lights. No driver silhouette. Like it was being pulled forward by gravity alone. I took the next exit onto a 2-lane. Figured I'd lose it in the curves. Burned some gas on a detour and reset. 15 minutes later, I pulled into a truck stop near an old mill town. Sat there for a while. Grabbed a coffee. Tried to shake the nerves. When I came back out, heart still thumping from the weirdness, I froze. It was parked 3 slots over. Same rig. Same red flag. But this time, the cab door was open. I got in my truck and locked the doors. Didn't even put my coffee down. I kept one eye on the side mirror the whole time. The red flag wasn't blowing anymore. No wind. It just hung there. Still. Like it was waiting. I slept maybe 30 minutes that night, if you can even call it sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that truck again. Saw headlights behind me. Saw the red flag in my mirror getting closer and closer, until it was all I could see. I left before dawn. Pushed my next route early just to get back on the road, to get away from whatever that was. But the red flag didn't stay behind. The next night, driving through Nebraska, it was back. I told myself if I saw it again, I'd report it. Call dispatch. Call highway patrol. Do something. But when it reappeared that night in Nebraska, 2:47 a.m., just outside York, all logic fell apart. Same rig. Same flat black cab. Same limp. Tattered flag swinging from the latch on the trailer. Only this time, it wasn't behind me. It was in front, sitting on the shoulder. Cab lights off. No engine as I passed it. I looked up. There was a face in the window. Not moving, not blinking, watching me. I floored it. Didn't stop for hours. Not until the sun came up and the roads got crowded. I pulled into a way station just outside Lincoln, nearly shaking. Tried to tell the officer on duty what I saw. All he said was, "You mean the one with the red flag?" "Yeah, a few drivers been talking about that lately." "No plates, right?" I stared at him. "You've seen it?" He just gave a weird shrug. Nobody gets a clear look. Always disappears off camera. Some say it's just a warning. Others say it shows up when someone's about to vanish. That word hit me hard. Vanish. I asked how many reports they'd had. He didn't answer. Just looked back toward the road and said, "Next time you see it, don't follow it. Whatever you do, don't try to pass it." Over the next week, things got worse. The rig started showing up more in my mirrors, reflected in diner windows. Once, I saw it parked in the lot behind the motel I was staying at. Even though I never heard it pull in, I went back out a minute later. Gone. The dreams came next. Always the same. I'm driving at night. Empty. Road. Radio off. And in my mirror, the red flag, waving, closer every second, until it's all I can see. And then I wake up gasping, with my dash lights blinking like someone just turned the ignition. I looked it up. Every trucker forum I could find. Most people laughed it off. Red flag rig? Yeah, heard of it. Urban legend. But one thread had a screenshot of a real police bulletin from 2016. Driver missing. Last known location. Route 36. Dash cam footage cut out right after. A rig passed him with a red cloth tied to the back. That driver was never found. Then I found a comment. Old, almost deleted. Red flag means unsafe load. But this load isn't in the trailer. It's the driver. He flagged himself years ago and never stopped driving. Now, he's looking for someone to take the flag. Last night, I got pulled off a route near Colorado Springs due to snow. I parked at a rest area to wait it out. Thought I was alone, until I looked up from the logbook and saw a new message on my truck's digital display. Transfer in progress. I didn't type that. I didn't even know the system had a message screen like that. Then the CB crackled. No. Mic plugged in. Just a whisper. "You're ready." I ran outside, barefoot, into the cold. That rig, the red flag rig, was parked across the lot. Door wide open. Light inside glowing red. Inviting. Like it was waiting. I backed away. Locked myself in my cab. Turned on every light. And waited for sunrise. It never came. My clock says 7:42 a.m. But it's still pitch black outside. I checked my phone. Date stuck on yesterday. CB just keeps repeating. Transfer in progress. Transfer in progress. I think it's my turn. I think I saw it too many times. And now it's mine. I looked out just now and my rig's back door has something tied to it. Frayed. Red. Waving in the wind. It was supposed to be easy money. My dispatcher texted me around 10:15 p.m. Last minute run. No questions. Pays double, cash. I'd been running hot all week. But the bills were high, and I'd told my wife I'd be home by morning. So when he said it was a single pallet, short haul, no inspection, I said yes. The pickup was weird, though. Remote warehouse just outside a town called Elkhorn, which I swear doesn't exist anymore. I only found it because they gave me GPS coordinates instead of an address. I pulled in just after midnight. No signs. No people. Just a bay door half open and one forklift guy who didn't say a word. He loaded a single tarped crate. I never saw what was underneath. The manifest said nothing, just delivery, priority, do not open Ada, 4 aim, and more coordinates. I punched the drop point into my GPS. It showed a route for a second, then the screen glitched out and went blank. tried my phone. Same thing. So I wrote the coordinates down, popped open my old school Rand McNally, and figured I'd just use mileage and gut instinct. The route cut through backroads I'd never driven before. Narrow, unmarked, not even gravel. Just dirt. Then forest. No cell signal. No radio. And that's when I started noticing things didn't add up. My odometer said I'd driven 40 miles, but the gas gauge hadn't moved. The road hadn't changed. Same trees, same curve, same old red sign bent at the same angle. I thought I was going in circles, but I hadn't turned once. Then the air changed. The smell hit first. Like something rotting, but faint, almost sweet. Then the temperature dropped. Not in degrees, just in feeling. Like the cold wasn't outside. It was coming from inside the cab. My breath fogged in front of me. I rolled the window down to snap myself out of it. No sound. No crickets. No wind. No engine noise. I looked at the RPM S.0. But I was still moving. I pressed the brake. Nothing. Turned the wheel. The road didn't respond. The truck kept driving straight ahead, like something was guiding it. That's when the CB crackled to life. I hadn't touched it in hours. ETA, 4 a.m. I jerked the wheel again, this time. The truck finally stopped. Hard. Like I'd hit a wall. I sat there, hands shaking, breath shallow, listening to the tick of the cooling engine that shouldn't have been running. Then I heard something in the back. 3 knocks. Slow. Measured. Coming from inside the trailer. I threw it in park. Jumped out, slammed the door. The forest around me was pitch black. No stars. No moon. Not even the trailer's brake lights were working. Just that deep, unnatural dark. The kind you can feel pressing against your skin. Walked to the back. The crate inside had shifted. The tarp covering it was still tied down. But something had moved, or was still moving. I was about to climb back in the cab when headlights flickered in the distance. A vehicle pulling up behind me. Old truck. Boxy. No plates. No driver silhouette. It stopped 10 feet back. Didn't move. Didn't flash. Didn't even idle. Then its headlights died, and something stepped out. It moved like a person. Slow, deliberate, tall. But its steps didn't make any sound. Gravel didn't crunch. The air didn't shift. My instincts screamed to get in the truck, to drive, to go anywhere but here. But my feet were stuck. Frozen. I couldn't move. The thing walked right past me. Didn't even look my way. It went straight to the back of my trailer. I wanted to yell, "Hey, that's not yours." But I couldn't speak. My voice was gone. Like the cold had stolen it. It stopped at the trailer door. The air around it shimmered. Like heat off asphalt, but freezing. Then it raised one arm. The door, unlatched by itself, swung open slow. Inside. The crate was gone. In its place was something I'll never forget. A chair. Wooden. Old. Facing me, and someone was sitting in it. They looked just like me. Same boots. Same jacket. Same broken wristwatch I lost 6 months ago. But they didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared at me with a wide, blank smile. Then the CB in my cab crackled again. Delivery complete. I don't remember getting back in the cab. I don't remember turning the truck around. But the next thing I knew, I was parked outside a gas station 200 miles south. Engine off. Fuel gauge reading full. It was 4 a.m. exactly. I checked the trailer. Empty. Not just of the crate. Clean, like it had never carried anything. Not a scratch. Not a dust print. I called dispatch to ask what the hell they sent me into. They told me I hadn't been on shift. Said I'd clocked out 2 nights ago. There was no record of the load. No signed manifest. No GPS data. It's like the trip never happened. Asked if anyone else was on that route. They paused, then said something that chilled me worse than the forest. "You asked us that last year, when you took this same delivery." I went home, tried to put it behind me, but last week, A package showed up at my door, no label. Inside was a torn delivery slip, smudged, faded, but still legible. Delivery, priority, ETA, for a recipient, driver condition, not to RET worn and stapled to it. A photograph, me in a wooden chair, smiling. Look, I know what it sounds like. I've been driving long enough to know the stories. The jokes. The warnings. Lot lizards, right? Everyone's got a tale or two. Some gross, some dark. Some straight up fake. But this isn't that. I didn't pick her up looking for company. I stopped because something felt off. It was a flying J off I-55, middle of Mississippi. Just after 3 a.m., I'd been rolling hard for 11 hours and needed to shut my eyes before I wrapped around a guardrail. I parked in the corner slot, far from the lights. Just me and 2 other rigs, both dark. I was dead tired. I just locked the cab, climbed into the sleeper, and started to nod off when I heard a soft tap on the passenger side. Door. 3 knocks. Then silence. I waited, thinking it was a mistake, but it came again. Tap. I rolled down the shade. She was standing there. Mid-30s, thin, dirty blonde hair. Long jacket that looked way too heavy for the southern heat. She wasn't twitchy, didn't look high, just still like a statue. And she was staring straight up at me, didn't say a word, didn't smile, just stood there with her hands at her sides. I cracked the window. You okay? She nodded once. Need a ride? Another nod. Now, I know better. Believe me, I never let anyone in my rig, especially not some stranger in the middle of the night. But something about her, I don't know. It didn't feel like danger. It felt like she belonged. I unlocked the passenger door. She climbed in without a word. Sat stiffly, facing forward. Didn't look at me. Didn't take off the coat. I said, "You got a destination, or just need to get out of here?" No answer. I started the engine. Didn't know where I was going. But I figured I'd drive until she said something, or I found somewhere better lit. 15 minutes in. She still hadn't spoken, not even moved. I glanced over. Her eyes were open, wide, no blink, no twitch, just locked on the road. The longer I looked at her, the less sure I was she'd blinked at all. I said, "You all right?" Still nothing. We hit a long stretch of trees, and I took an off-ramp. Figured I'd pull into another lot and let her out, wherever she wanted to go. As I slowed down, she finally spoke. Quiet. Almost a whisper. "You're not the first." My hand froze on the shifter. "What?" She turned to me slowly. That was the first time I really saw her eyes. They weren't just wide. They were wrong. Too black. Too still. No reflection. She smiled, just a little, like she knew something I didn't. I pulled into a Shell station and told her, "You can get out here." She nodded. Opened the door, climbed down. Walked behind the station. Into the shadows. Gone. I waited there for 20 minutes. Didn't see her again. Drove the rest of the night trying to forget it. Next morning, I stopped at a rest area to check my dash cam. Just curiosity, right? To see if she looked as weird on camera as she did in person. But when I played it back, she was never there. You see the door open. You see me talking to someone. You see me glancing over. But the seats, empty. I fast-forwarded to when she got out. Passenger door opens. No one climbs out. But the shadow behind the gas station still moves. I didn't tell anyone. Not at first. What could I say? "Hey," I picked up a woman who never blinked, whispered one sentence, then vanished from my footage like she was never real. Even for truck stop gossip, it sounded insane. But I couldn't shake it, couldn't stop thinking about her face. Or the way the air in the cab felt wrong after she left, heavy, still. Like the space she sat in had stayed full. A few days later, I met up with an old buddy at a Petro in Louisiana, Dave. He's been hauling for 20 years. The type of guy who doesn't scare easy. I mentioned something casual. Like, ever get weird company in the middle of the night? His face changed immediately. He put down his fork. Was she pale? Didn't talk much? Wore a long coat like she didn't feel heat? I stared at him. He leaned in. You saw her too, didn't you? Turns out he picked her up back in 21. Behind a Love's near Macon, Georgia. Same story. Middle of the night. Silent. Strange eyes. One sentence, she told him. You're not the last. She got out at a way station. He never saw her leave. He said he tried to tell himself it was a dream until he checked his camera and saw the same thing. I did. No one was ever in the seat. Over the next week, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Started combing through forums, real ones, deep ones. Not the surface level lot lizard jokes, but the posts that get deleted an hour after they go live. And I found more stories. Dozens. All similar. Truckers alone. Late at night. Woman knocks, gets in. Never blinks. Never speaks until the end. But what chilled me most was what they called her. The ride-along. Like she wasn't just passing through, like she was watching. One guy posted dashcam stills, empty seat. Then next frame. The mirror tilted, like someone tall had leaned forward to look at it. Another guy claimed he blacked out after she left. Woke up hours later at a way station with mud on his boots and no memory of stopping. Another said she followed him home. Last night, it happened again. Same flying J. Same time. I pulled in, tired. Told myself it was just another stop. Parked. Lights off. Everything quiet. I started to doze. And then, tap. Tap. Passenger. Sighed. I didn't move, didn't look. But I could feel it. That pressure, like the cab wasn't mine anymore. I reached for my phone. It was already on. Recording. The screen showed the passenger seat. Empty. But the window was fogging up, like someone was breathing beside me. And then she spoke, not out loud, through the CB. It wasn't even on. You invited me in. Now you'll carry me. The engine died. The lights cut out. And in the dark reflection of the window, I saw her face, not outside. Inside. Sitting next to me. Eyes wide, not blinking. I don't remember anything after that. Woke up this morning in a truck stop. I've never been to. Tank full. No logbook entries. No clue how I got here. Only thing different. There's now a second driver ID scanned into my rig system. No name. No photo. Just a tag, ride-along permanent. The desert does something to your brain. I used to think that was just a line some romantic nonsense drivers say when they're sleep-deprived. And halfway through Arizona with nothing but static and tumbleweeds. But I know now, there's something out there. It was 2:12 a.m. I was westbound on I-40. Hauling empty pallets from Flagstaff to Barstow. Light load. Boring run. Just me, the moonlight, and a CB radio I kept on mostly for background noise. Then the static changed, not in volume, in pattern, short bursts. Long ones. Gaps. It was Morse code. I'd picked up enough over the years to recognize a few letters. And this was definitely repeating. Coordinates. I scribbled them down. 35.0769. 111.4505. That was maybe an hour off route. Deep in the Navajo be CKCOUNTR. Why? No. Towns. No roads. Just red dirt and rock. I should've ignored it, but there was something wrong about how it came through, like the signal wasn't distant. It was close. Strong. Like it was meant for me. 10 minutes later, the CB crackled again. Voice this time. Female. Flat, emotionless, signal active. Ada 303. Then silence. I asked around on channel 19. Anyone else hear that? No one responded. No traffic. No chatter. Just dead air. I don't know what possessed me. Curiosity, boredom, something deeper, but I took the exit, headed south into the desert. The paved road turned to gravel, then sand. The GPS blinked out. My cell signal dropped to 0. And still, the voice came through, stronger now. Signal strong. You are approaching. At 2:58 a.m. I saw the antenna, middle of nowhere, about 30 feet tall, sticking out of the ground like a broken fence post, surrounded by nothing but dry scrub and darkness. Beside it, a cement hatch. Half buried, unmarked, like a storm shelter, and something was buzzing, not loud, low, vibrating. I killed the engine, stepped out into the cold desert air. Everything was quiet. I walked to the hatch. There was no lock. No writing, just a square keypad with no numbers, just dashes and dots. Morse. My hand moved without thinking. I tapped in the coordinates. The keypad blinked green. The hatch unlatched. Inside was a short metal stairwell, leading down into absolute black. I should have stopped right there, but the CB whispered one last time. Signal received. Begin transfer. The kind of cold that sinks into your skin, through your bones. The metal felt wet, even though it wasn't. I held my breath and counted the stairs. 17. 17 stairs down into a corridor that looked like it hadn't been used in decades, maybe longer. Concrete walls. Bare bulbs overhead, all buzzing like flies. A hum filled the air. Not the lights, not the wiring, deeper. Like the building itself was vibrating with something alive. At the far end of the hallway was a single steel door. It had no handle, just a panel next to it. Another keypad, blinking red. More Morse, but this one didn't wait for me. It blinked its own pattern. I watched it once, then again. It was spelling something. Welcome back. He stared at that message for a long time. Long enough to start questioning things I already knew, who I was, why I'd come, how long I'd really been driving that night. I didn't press anything. The door opened anyway. No hiss, no unlock, just opened. Inside was a room about the size of a gas station office. Blank walls. No chairs. One old radio, transmitter in the center. Dust covered, tubes glowing faintly. Still warm. And standing next to it was a man. He was tall, rail thin, dressed in a faded mechanic's coverall. I don't know how I missed him at first. He didn't move, didn't turn when I stepped inside. Just stared at the transmitter like it was whispering secrets in his ear. Then he spoke. Calm, not surprised, not even curious. Took you long enough. I said nothing, didn't know what to say. He finally looked at me, his face. It was wrong, not deformed. Not monstrous. Just wrong in the way a wax figure looks human until it blinks. Too smooth, too still. His eyes were pale, not white but colorless, like all the pigment had drained out. You've been broadcasting, I said, trying to sound steady. He nodded. We never stopped. To who? To you. He walked slowly toward the wall and pressed his hand against it. It lit up. The concrete just glowed, like it had circuitry buried beneath it. Screens flickered on all around the room. Footage, live feeds. Dozens of them. All truck cabs. All different models, states, lighting. Some sleeping drivers. Some driving through storms, some just sitting. In one of them was me. There I was, driving. Same hat, same truck. Same knuckle scar on my right hand, except I was smiling, laughing at something on the radio. I watched myself blink, watched myself shift lanes, and I realized that wasn't recorded. It hadn't happened yet. What is this? I whispered. The man turned to me. Signal duplication. We send the frequency. The rest follows. You tuned in. Now you're part of the wave. My head started to spin. I backed away from the wall, toward the stairs. Double quotes. No, this is some kind of trap, right? Like a psych experiment? You broke the signal barrier. You're no longer on the map. He stepped aside and motioned toward the radio. Broadcast begins when you sit. There was a chair now, I swear to God. There hadn't been one before. It was just there, metal, bolted to the floor, facing the transmitter. I'm not staying here, I said, but even my voice sounded distant now. Thin, like it was being played back on a bad speaker. The room pulsed again. The hum grew louder. Then, you'll keep driving. You'll drive forever. But your voice is already here. That's when the transmitter lit up, speakers buzzed, and my voice came out of it. Not a recording. Live. I was talking about the road, about the heat, about how I couldn't stop thinking about a weird signal I picked up in the desert. I watched my own mouth on the screen say the words seconds before they played over the speaker. I wasn't just seeing the future, was becoming the broadcast. I ran out of the room, up the stairs, the lights overhead now flickering fast, the Morse rhythm again, spelling something I couldn't read fast enough. When I burst through the hatch, the desert was pitch black. No moon. No antenna. Just me in the truck, still idling. Like I'd never left. I drove, didn't stop, didn't breathe right for an hour, didn't check the CB either. Because deep down, I knew what I'd hear, but eventually I did. Had to static. Then my voice. Breaker 19. You ever hear about the antenna off I-40? Weirdest thing. Now, every night, the transmission plays. Doesn't matter where I go. Doesn't matter if I shut the CB off. If I unplug it. If I ditch it, the voice comes back. My voice. Slight delay. Sometimes it lags. Sometimes it leads, like I'm chasing it now, or it's pulling me forward. A week ago, I tried to show someone. Pulled a buddy into the cab. Told him to listen. The signal played as clear as day. He just looked at me. What signal? I cranked the volume. Still nothing. He couldn't hear it, but I watched my hands shaking on the wheel, just like the dash cam showed. 4 days ago, I'm not sure how long. I've been driving. I think I left Flagstaff 2 weeks ago. Maybe a month. The signs blur. Fuel never runs out. Foods. Always in the cooler. I don't remember buying it. Last night, the CB said something different. Not a message. A set of coordinates. Not where I've been, where I'm going, where all the voices go. Eventually. Back to the source. Back to the tower. Back to the chair. I know what happens when I get there. I take the seat. I become the signal. I already have. Because sometimes, when I drive through the night, I hear another trucker respond, and when I do, I feel myself smile, even though I didn't mean to. And then I say, signal received. Welcome back. It's been weeks now. I say weeks, but I don't really know. I lost track somewhere in Utah, or maybe Nevada. The horizon stopped changing. Roads loop back. Sun goes down but never comes up the same. The world out here isn't right anymore. I'm not even sure if I'm on Earth. Maybe I never left Arizona. Maybe I never left that room. The CB never shuts up now. Always some fragment of a voice. My voice skipping in and out like a scratched record. But it's not just broadcasting anymore. It's responding to things I haven't said yet. Sometimes I'll think of something, a question, an apology, even just a line I'm rehearsing in my head, and the CB will answer. We know. You were warned. There's no road home. I keep driving anyway, not because I'm looking for an exit, but because when I stop, it starts crawling closer. The hum, that low vibrating frequency that fills the cab when I turn the engine off. At first, it sounded like old power lines. Now it sounds like breathing. The radio tower? I've seen it again. Twice now, out in the desert, different locations. Different directions, but always the same shape, same rusted steel. Same blinking light, pulsing like a heartbeat in the sky. Once, I tried to turn around before I got too close. Did a wide loop, checked the GPS, not that it works. Pulled into a town 3 hours later, and the tower was already there. People in the towns. They're not right either, if you can call them people. They walk slow, faces blank like they're listening to something I can't hear, or maybe something only I can hear. Once, I asked a cashier at a gas station what town we were in. She looked up at me and said, "You were supposed to deliver something, but you opened it, didn't you?" I didn't stay long. You might think I'm losing it, and you'd be right. But I know this isn't just madness, something attached. Itself to me. It's riding along. Not in the cab. Not in the trailer. In the signal. In me. The first real sign came a few days ago. I was driving through what looked like the Mojave late at night. Stars bright as floodlights. Nothing on the road for miles. Everything felt wrong. Time stretched. The tires didn't feel like they were on pavement anymore. More like I was floating. Then the CB clicked on. No voice. Just music. My voice. Singing a song I didn't know. A slow, low hum, wordless, like a lullaby. And I realized my lips were moving with it. I pulled over and got out, walked 20 paces into the sand, just to feel ground. Just to be still. That's when I saw the footprints. Mine. In the sand, dozens of them. Hundreds. Going in circles, like I'd been walking that same loop for hours, but I hadn't, had I? That night I finally looked at myself in the mirror again, the one above the sleeper bunk. It was cracked. I don't remember when that happened. There's a thin fracture across the glass that splits my face in two. And something about the left side is wrong. It doesn't blink when I do. Last night, I found another CB signal, only this time it wasn't me. It was another voice. Male. Older. Raspy. Scared. Put quotes. I took the coordinates. I saw the hatch. I didn't go in. But the signal still got in me. If you're hearing this, it's too late. Then silence. Then my voice again, repeating the exact same thing, word for word, like I had said it. Here's the part I can't explain. Every time I try to record the CB video, audio, phone, dash cam, the file's empty. Not corrupted. Just blank. As if the signal is never meant to be documented. Only heard, only shared, only spread. 2 nights ago, I picked up a hitchhiker. Don't ask me why. I just didn't want to be alone. She was maybe 30, wore a denim jacket. Said her name was Leela. Said she'd been stranded outside a broken-down RV with no radio, no cell. She was real. I swear she was. She rode with me for 4 hours. Talked about old songs, about weird dreams. And at one point, she looked over and said, "You hum in your sleep. It's beautiful, but it's not yours, is it?" When I woke up at a rest stop, she was gone. No sign. No footprints. Just the door slightly ajar, and written in dust across the windshield, "Receiver active A. Think I've become part of the broadcast." Or maybe I was always meant to be. The tower wasn't sending coordinates to just anyone. It was looking for people like me. People who wouldn't question it. People who would drive. Found the chair again. Or one like it. In the middle of an abandoned truck stop near the border. It wasn't inside a building. It was just there. In the fuel lane, facing west. I sat down. Didn't mean to. Just found myself doing it. And when I did, the sky pulsed. Like lightning. But without thunder, the whole desert blinked, and I heard the words, "Your turn." I'm not scared anymore. Not in the way I was. Now it's more like a numbness. Like the farther I drive, the less of me there is in the driver's seat. The voice gets stronger. The road gets quieter. I haven't seen another truck in days. Just empty lanes. Open sky. And the signal, always whispering, repeating one thing. "You are the broadcast." I wonder if someone else will pick it up. Some kid with a CB. Turn 2 high. Some lonely driver running overnight. And I'll be the one in the voice now. Telling them where to go. Where to stop. What coordinates to follow. What chair to sit in. And the loop goes on. If you're hearing this, if somehow this gets out, remember this. Don't answer the signal. Don't follow the Morse. Don't go near the hatch. Because it's not just a tower. It's not just a frequency. It's a door. And once it opens, you're not driving anymore. You're transmitting.